Good morning and a warm welcome to you all again. I'm Vijaya Annapurna and I have the honor to introduce Mohan Krishnaraj. Is a Chief Experience Officer at Wongdoody, an Infosys company. With over 2 decades of experience in the industry, Mohan is an advocate for user-centric design and has a proven track record of enabling UX-led business transformation for blue-chip companies, including Capital One, US Bank, Walmart, Tesco, GE, Airbus, and Sony. As a current CXO of Wongdoody, Mohan spearheads initiatives that merge cutting-edge design with architecture business objectives, driving tangible results for his clients. Under his leadership, his team achieved unparalleled success, earning prestigious accolades such as being named Agency of the Year Design and Technology. Beyond his personal achievements, Mohan has been recognized as one of the most successful business leaders to watch in 2024, as testament to his visionary leadership and strategic acumen. He also has been honored with the esteemed Indian Achievers Award for Business Excellence. Through his advocacy and mentorship, Mohan is shaping the next generation of design leaders, propelling India into the global stage as a hub of design excellence. Today, Mohan is going to speak on how an idea can be evolved and implemented and role of AI. For today's topic is From Inspiration to Implementation, Role of Gen AI in Experience Design. Please welcome Mohan Krishnaraj to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. The mic is working. Good to see a lot, full house, especially after COVID. We are back onto these stages. It's so amazing to see people in live. I know she did a lot of introductions, so I'll be real quick with my introduction. And just to talk about the age of experience, I have been with multiple different companies from the states of SIs who are system integrators and also from product companies and design agencies. So my core interest or passion is more on human experience and more of experience designing. It could be any domain for us. It could be from a furniture design to a most complex healthcare application. That we look at it more from a human lens, look at it more how humans will pursue that in different regions and different behavioral patterns. We'll talk about a little more on those. And again, recently, about 2 years back, I moved from Harman International, which is a Samsung company, into Infosys. This is Wongdoody. Again, Wongdoody is a design agency within Infosys, and it's a horizontal that serves all the vertical of Infosys, and a conglomeration of all of the agencies that Infosys bought together has been put under one name called Wongdoody. I'll show you a quick show reel of what we do as well. These are some of the companies. I know she spoke about a little bit, but globally, this is mostly the companies that I have personally been involved from all the 2 decades of experience that I've been working from. It could be a simple app design to a complex multi-sensory design that they're expecting when humans can be ported into boxes and the boxes will port them into different locations and so on. So we've worked with very, very complex experience design platforms and so on. So some of the massive awards is still not updated. It's around 360 plus awards now. And we chase awards big time in any teams that I have been involved from the beginning. We chase awards because awards is something that a global jury comes in and says what is the kind of work we do. And that's like the proof of proving to people or the customers that we do the best of the world job. And some of the very, very prestigious IF design, just yesterday we won one of them. So very happy to have those into our categories. IF design, thank you so much. IF design and Red Dot awards are 2 major awards that we closely follow from design world, design fraternity, because that's like Oscars for us. So anything we do where experience is treated, where humans are treated, where we have a purpose of doing something is where it's lovely to work with. Also, it's something that is satisfying your souls when you do something, some output like that. So I've just authored a few books, a couple of books. The one is out. It's called The Great Balancing Act. This is all based on the experience that I've had, and purely based on how do you balance the expectation of an user and the experience that you will deliver against it. It's on Amazon as well. The other one that I'm doing right now, it's been pending for a long time because of my bandwidth. It's the holy grail of game design. The game design has evolved in the world where it was a dungy, black, smoky gaming zones before, and now it is even the families can go around it. So there's a massive transformation in gaming experience. So that's the next one I'll be coming out with. Recent feature in January, CIO Today. I was on the cover. And this is great recognition for what I have also been chasing for last 20 years. I've personally made decisions to stay in India, to make India design to the world core, and we want to take the design of India. I have been into meetings where people were saying, no, India is back office, India is can only do something not so great. So I've seen through the transformation. Thank you. No, this is something that all of us have to together work on making India at the prime. And today we are at the prime where we have a seat. I'm the CXO of a large company, and we have those seats on the table that we can dictate some of these, which used to be not so Indian before. Moving on the topic of today is more on Gen AI and user experience. So how does the digital experience, user experience make a difference into the product scenarios? Some of it, I'm sure the numbers could have changed today if you look at it, but the age of digital Darwinism, survival of the fittest. If you look at only 71 companies remain from the 500 top list of 1955. What happened to the rest of them? Why didn't they follow through? Be it the Kotak example, we know all the stories of how they didn't look at the third box of innovation and where digital can take them. How can they really go against the competition? So they were not looking at all of this, and they were very complacent. I have seen customers who said, we are already the best. What can you do for us? So my question to them is always, what can fail you? Do you know what can fail you? So that is the protagonist that they should look at. I'm sure, with due respects to all of them in the team, where product is the protagonist here, but it has been the age of experience as the protagonist, because even from the product perspective, we know we do fantastic functionalities, and as we say it in design world, if you can't find a feature that doesn't exist for a user. So that's how important an experience design is. So the source of value creation has really shifted. It is nothing against each other, but it is together that you have to build the experience over the product design that is happening today. So we'll talk a little bit more on that, on these. And look, we try to make a new features. We just embed something very new, fancy in between, but does it make sense? The approach of embarking, does that really make sense? If you're adding just mirror step there, it is just delusion. It's actually, somebody says this feature is fantastic, let's add this. Somebody is adding another feature, can we just add it to our product? So that mindset has to really shift. So that's navigating the unexpected is getting to the roots of it. It's very difficult when you get clogged into features and functionalities and looking at it very myopic on the feature world and so on. So I'll tell you a very quick short story about this. This is the milkshake story. It's a coffee shop, and this coffee shop is very strategically located in US. And everybody goes to the coffee shop with different purposes. So the coffee shop, over time, he was doing fantastic. So he did not do any changes to what he was running the show. And over time, the crowd started becoming very less. The business started coming down. So they went deep into analyzing the users as to what's going wrong. Why are we not able to, sell more like how we used to do? Then people analyzed that people don't go to the coffee shop just to have a coffee or a snack. It's more they buy a coffee and they go for a drive to their offices, which is a longer drive. And it is more a companion. So they understood it is not the product, that it is more of the companion that they want to go along. So they introduced a lot of sandwiches, apple, it's dirty to eat, it's not easy to eat. So they tried all of those, experimenting with the users. But at the same time, end of the day, what worked for them is they introduced small, they added some caramel beats into it, or very small elements that you can bite when you're having a coffee. So that's when the whole game changer happened to them, that the coffee stayed longer for the drive. So then the game changer happened, that people started flocking back because the companion continued to stay there and it was keeping them active. It is very sleepy early morning, very cold weathers, and that change happened only because they were able to understand that the experience of companionship was more important than the product in itself. So adding those caramels into the coffee, or adding any other elements that you can bite in and chew in for a longer time, the coffee stays longer. So that really helped. So in each of the product that we do, if we look at what is that one element, what is that one job to be done, we'll talk about this framework. This is very, very important framework. We have been very successful using that framework. We'll talk about it today. Again, these are experiences which Apple gives us. Here is a new email. What do you want to do after seeing this? You just want to say dismiss, or do you want to see what are those emails? Right? It is a functionality which is great, but it triggers me to go and open my mobile again. But it's kind of a feature which is not really full in my expectation, in a user perspective. I want to see an email, at least show me a subject if I want to read it or not. So that's where it comes to, don't assume this is how it works. Don't assume this is how users will look at it. Do not assume the core needs of the user. So crafting the core, there is a job to be done framework. This was, I'm sure some of you would have got introduced to this already, but whoever is not, I would urge you to start using this, because it's not about just the functional. There is a lot of social and emotional angle to this. Like the coffee example that we spoke just now, has a social and an emotional angle to the product, angle to that one job to be done. What is it, one purpose that we want to identify for every product we are building? So the architecture, this is by Clayton Christensen. It's one of my Harvard learning. I was lucky, he's no more, but I was lucky to get this directly from him. So he was teaching us about what the job to be done architecture pyramid looks like. So there is a job to be done on the bottom, and whatever that one particular job. So he always uses this example of carpenter buys a drilling machine to drill a hole. So drilling the hole is the best example that he can, best purpose that he can buy for. How can you make it light? Can you make it more effective? Can you make it more wireless and so on? Those are the features you would expect, not make it heavier, add some Bluetooth speakers, or, again, the featuring concept of it. So what is the kind of experience you will build to it, and what sort of integration, like cableless and other things, what are the other integration that we can bring it on, like an ecosystem to it, and the brand purpose in itself. So the brand carries a bigger value. We buy certain things based on just belief on the brands. So again, Disney did a great job. How did they do this? So they built very, very tall walls, first of all. That is just to kind of, when you get into a Disneyland, you should forget the outside world and go into another fancy world. So if you get to see some other wiring, cables, boards outside the campus, you will automatically start reconnecting. So they want you to disconnect from the world outside. So the big walls help them. And bringing in characters into real life. As in, these are the characters people would have seen in cartoons, in movies and so on. Bringing it there to the real life is a great experience for kids. And you can see these boards and all of this, they're very, very different, like the fantasy world. Even the washroom boards, you will not see it like the normal world. It's always different. They want you to be transformed into a different world. So that their one job is, again, I'm talking about jobs to be done here, is to make sure that you forget the real world and come into their fantasy world. So again, bringing memorable characters of people who watched movies. There are some fan characters, there are some fanboy times or fangirl times, so that they want to bring onto the system, on the location. So again, we spoke about the walls. Can move on. Yeah. So they also tried something that we can try, some adventurous ride. They had, in certain regions, there were some adventure parks they were doing really well. So they said, why don't we introduce within Disney? We can get those crowd also into it. But they failed miserably. Disney World's job to be done is not to give thrill rides or adventurous rides. It's more a fantasy world. So if you move away from the job to be done, it can again disrupt the whole business model. So they lost it big time on this rides, and they had to remove it all and bring it back to the same fantasy world. So they didn't go after the adventurous world again. So that's how the whole brand purpose was brought up, and from the jobs to be done to the experience, and how what is the integration across ecosystem of their movies and characters that could come on, and brand purpose. So this is again another example of in-flight entertainment. Most of you would have been in all the flights, and you would have seen that people are just watching either cat videos or they're watching the moving maps, and they just go to sleep. So why do they do that? Of course, cat videos are the maximum used ones, and people find it very cute, very nice. I was talking to one of the CIO of the Asian countries, financial guy. He was talking about, they were talking about finance very serious in the region. It used to be very tight collared, serious ads and campaigns. People used to ignore it. People would not even look at it, or they don't want to do it. But millennials are watching it when you show cute things. When you talk about cute stuff, they were very happy to engage with the bank, thinking it's light-hearted, it's connecting to me, and at all levels. So that's how the campaigns have started changing from a very serious, tight collar to a very cute stuff and so on. So yes, moving on, it's costing about $10,000 for one infotainment installation of one seat, and I'm sure there is a lot of variations now depending on the size and touch and so on, but it's roughly 10,000. But it's definitely making it feel 1990s, and it's, like I said, it's mostly the moving maps that people are watching. So we had certain customers from the airlines where we wanted to do some research about how do we get this engagement changed. What is that we can work with them. So we brought in an immersive digital landscape where we could see, we also were looking at airlines tying up with different, for example, Disney World, and they could look at different geo entertainments within that, whichever location you are traveling, you can actually start experiencing that location. You can go around, walk around, see the places, pick what you would like to see, and wherever you're booked, would you want to go see how it looks like. So that was an experience which people started loving. We tried it on people, and also you can buy Disney World tickets online, on flight, offline, at a cheaper cost. But also experiencing the Disney World, whichever location you're going in. So this started engaging. People started for 8-9 hours of flight. They don't mind engaging for 2-3 hours with this, and still move back to their cats and maps, right? IKEA's one job to be done was clearly on do it yourself. So they have been embarking on that from the beginning, that you don't need a third person to help you. And as you can see, the job to be done was give something very quick and easy for me to assemble. And the experience was simplicity. It's more drag and drop, picture-based help, no text. You don't have to go multilingual on it. And also boosting the idea of DIY with comic-like manuals. I mean, people have all lived the life of childhood on comics. So that was a good subconscious memory that they were trying to use to build this maps. And of course, brand purpose is infusing the DIY and personalization, and giving that empowerment for users that I can do it myself. I don't need anyone's help here. So focus on the job to be done, whether it is phygital or digital. Where there's, even in the car infotainments, we design the hardware, buttons, and the software that goes into the embedded design. So that it has to be seamless to people. They don't care if you're touching a hard button or a soft screen button. It has to be seamless. So that's talking about a little bit on the AI revolution for what's in future. It's a shapeshifter for a lot of industry landscapes. And we all agree that it is going to come in. There's a lot of impact that's going to happen. But is that an impact good, or is it going to have an adverse effect? In our perspective from the design world, we look at it as a very, very helpful tool for us, which AI can help us move things faster. So there are some experiments also going on. There is a lot of work on research from our design communities also happening. It can go beyond, right? It can play chess against humans, and it can have beyond human expertise that we can use it for our benefits. So we have spent ages in translation. We used to build 14 language websites. You go into a localization based on IP. You load the local language and so on. Nowadays, it happens on a jiffy. I mean, you don't have to really worry about language translations. Even us talking to an absolute taxi driver who has no language is easy with just a Google translation. So language is no barrier. So language barrier has been moved, and that's a lot of sci-fi has been reality. Driverless cars is all getting there. Self-driven cars and mostly powered by AI. AI is helping understand the users better. I'm sure there's a lot of personalization in each of your product line that you can look at it is happening easier for you now. It's giving you knowledge even that you don't know or you don't have a research around it. So in healthcare, we are seeing that there is a lot of improvements happening with a lot of touchless assessment happening, and AI is helping with a lot of diagnosis tools, that is early detection of diseases. That's a big thing where people know something much earlier than they have symptoms. These are the benefits, of course, what AI can bring it to us. So conversational wonders, chatbots, there is a lot to work on, where I don't know if you guys saw the Indigo chatbot, where someone was critiquing saying, thanks for reaching my luggage on time, because they didn't get their luggage, but it doesn't understand the critique yet. It just went back saying, oh, we are so glad you had a great experience, travel back with us, It's fantastic that chatbot don't get it yet. So I'm sure that critique, the way each of the regions speak, this is where I was talking about regionalization. As Indians, we have a different connotations to what we say. We have a connotation of saying good things, which is a critic, and some people are direct, some people can't even say it. So what are the next evolutionary steps in AI? So generative AI, we have seen some examples that what works on. Basically converging an AI into an experience and storytelling. So again, from a product or community or design community, all of our communities have to look at what is the experience we are delivering, what is the purpose of that, and what is the story that is. This is still all ours. The AI can only help us converge all of that together with a faster approach, with better approach, and it can really help us make it faster. I'm sure there are some people talking about, oh, many jobs will go away, many things will happen. Of course, the horse riders will lose the jobs when car comes in. People have to start driving, right? That's the only shift that all of us have to make. But the complexity in depth and the adaptability of what AI can do and personalization, we can really give anything to one single person. I mean, without even changing the URL, can we give an absolute the same URL, a different website for you and different website for me is going to come. That's how it's going to be totally personalized using the generative AI and so on. And it gives you so much of autonomy and empowerment to do things which you can dream of, which you can think of, which you can prototype it now, which used to take ages to see. People used to talk about prototyping is very expensive. We can do it just like that and see how it goes, see it with users and see the emotions and change it on the go. Those are the fantastic things. And self-learning, you don't have to spend too much time teaching people. So self-learning is easier. Ethical and social considerations are some of the most key elements that we should look at. Ethical is a big topic on AI, and most of the leaders are stopping AI to some extent where it goes beyond ethical limits for human beings and so on. So let's look at as a mastermind, elevating the immersive experiences. This is what the future brings on with AI. The multisensory experiences. I was just talking about a box. We have experimented with this. You can have a box which has an LED system installed within, and once you get in, you use the gears, you can actually be transported to a system where travel use cases where you can go into that place, experience. If you go into an Amazon forest, if you're watching the sun on your right shoulder, you'll start getting a little bit of heat on your right shoulder using the LED heaters. So that's how the different experiences of multisensory. We are working on how the 5 senses of human beings can be fully utilized to the maximum to give those immersive experiences. And even from the digital twin concepts, we are working on cars where you can actually create a 3D cars, which is very, very similar to the real one, with all the components, with the data preparation that we do. And you can actually, if you 3D print a car, you will see the real car with all the parts in it. So that even the rotation, turning, digital twin is moved much beyond for us, and we're working with very large OEMs, doing it from India. A lot of digital twin concepts that we've brought in there. And emotional resonance, again, there are some people who do fantastic, great job, but they don't know how to talk about it to the world. So that is where AI can really help them come out of that shell, show things much better, celebrate their work without even them investing themselves into too much or trying to be bold or trying to be submissive either ways. And inclusivity and accessibility, it helps because of 40% of the audience are still having differently abled challenges. And there's a lot of situational inclusivity where mother carrying a child is one-handed at that time. So how can we have those aspects thought through into what we are building? Cultural and historical immersion, like how good would it be if we go to Hampi and if we experience how it was then? So what was the kings really doing? You walk around with them, experience what was the sandalwood door looked like, experience what was the gold lining to the tiles that was. So that level of experiences will really elevate the experience that we are talking about. So that's where the immersive experience will play a bigger role. So I would say that AI and it's not about just AI doing something on its own. It's always you have to enable it to do the right things. So that's the perspective that we are driving. I'm personally driving into everything that we are doing, and also into many customer purposes that we are doing a lot of projects. We are bringing in that element of how AI can do more beneficial things with a purpose to the right kind of users. So, like I said, it's an ally. Don't look at it like something that's coming over. It's an ally. Let's try to use it to the best. And experience tailoring, personalization partner, what you would want to deliver to your users based on what they're expecting. Again, the balancing act will be the best from these experiences. Amplifies the creativity. People don't need to learn design to do designer's job. People don't need to do coding job. So it's much, all of us human beings, we can elevate our positions to the next level. Let's start dictating something. There is someone to do this. Right? So life-centric, we are also focusing more on not just humans. There is a lot of lives around us. How can we take care of that? Biomimicry is a big concept that we follow. We learn a lot from nature and we bring it on. One of the best examples that I always talk about is the Tokyo, how they did the whole train system. They used the slime, and how the slime moved its way on a map, how quickly it could find the food is the direction they laid out their train system. So fantastic learning from nature. Something taught the whole Tokyo how to design their internal metro system. So that's biomimicry, learning from earthworms taught us we could do something underground. A lot of things that we learn from nature. So we need to bring that more into every learning of ours. So bring more life centricity. Again, conversations unbound. It's very fine line navigating the challenge between AI and storytelling. We need to make sure that it's just fine line, doesn't get any thicker. So I was talking about some ethical dilemmas. We need to make sure there is no loss of authenticity. There's no biases in what it's doing. ChatGPT even today gives out a lot of things that has a lot of biases in it. People are having issues with those. So again, this is a lot of human intervention into this as to whatever output is going. Today, still no big companies are happy to use what is generated because we don't know where it is coming from. We don't know the source. We don't know the authenticity. We don't know if data privacy is taken care of it. So there is a lot more to be answered. I would say this is more like a wave of driverless cars. It's yet to be there. We are yet to see everything happening.